Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. And today we are skipping my take because we're going to have two full segments. Inside Sources, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today we are opening the show with a quick discussion on what it is that is happening across the world because of the policies of Mr. Donald Trump, the new president of the United States. To join me in that conversation, I have from Boston, in the United States, the Walter G. Mueda Professor of Social Ethics and the Director of the African Center of Boston University. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Professor Nimi Wariboko. Professor Wariboko, you are welcome back to Inside Sources.
Thank you, Mr. Kande. I'm glad to be back.
All right. So you are right there in the U.S. You're a professor in Boston University, and you're also the director of the African Studies Center in that school. Now, can you tell us, how do you read many or, maybe some of the very interesting policies that President Trump has issued in these last 2 or 3 weeks of his administration, causing quite a bit of disruption around the world? Prof.
Yes, thank you for having me. Once again, I appreciate you bringing me back. Well, President Donald Trump resumed office on the 20th of January, and since resuming office, he has had a disruptive effect on the American economy, American society, and the greater world. Indeed, he promised that's what he was going to do, so he's keeping his promise. But if you look back at what he has done, it's been disruptive to the economy or to the psyche of people, or at least majority of Americans. So whether those who voted for him or who did not vote for him. And some of these policies that he has put in place is scary, at least to a certain group of people. Let us look at this drastic immigration policy. Yes, we have to give to him that he's maintaining law and order or implementing the laws on the book as he promised. But he's doing that without mercy, and that is the part that concerns people. Is doing that without an issue of mercy. He claims to be a Christian. The evangelical Christians support him, but is implementing his immigration policy, especially the deportation, the forceful deportation side, without compassion, right? And then that policy is done with spectacle, right? Because if you look at it, even in his first time, Obama, when he was in power, deported many more people than Trump. And then even Trump's first time, he deported people. But now he has not deported that many, but he has decided to create a spectacle, asking the immigration officer, ICE, to go there with cameras or so, just to have this fear, generate this fear in the populace, especially those without legal papers, or what you may call illegal immigrants or paperless immigrants. So there is this fear and spectacle, and that is not probably the right way to go about it. But what is much more concerning for others who have followed the career of Donald Trump and what he has done, and the implicit meaning of his "Let's Make America Great," are concerned that he is following the script of what in America today we call the Great Replacement Theory. It was talked much about during the campaign and even before on Fox News that Americans of color, that is brown and black skinned people, are going to overtake whites in population and in other things. So one way people interpret this, whether they're right or wrong, given that background and that theory, that Mr. Trump, the president, is deporting people who are mainly from the brown and black communities, so that demographic transition, that demographic takeover is not going to happen. So people see that way. It's not just a matter of law and order, but it's also a question of trying to keep certain balance of the population. Because experts are saying that in a matter of few years or 10 years or so, that non-whites are going to outnumber whites, and whites will be in the minority. And so this is seen as a desperate attempt for him to stop that trend. Whether that is what he has in his mind or not, one cannot tell. But one can interpret his action, and from his utterances in the past, we could see why people would attribute this kind of inclination to him. So that's on immigration. On the issue of tariff, as we are seeing, he's not paying attention to the economic effects or the possible economic effects of those tariffs, or the disruption in the global trade and payment system that will happen. Right. So one sees that as also his way of disrupting the system, or maybe he takes himself as a great negotiator. Maybe that is his opening gambit, right? But it's very disruptive. We saw how Canadian Prime Minister reacted to it, and we see what the Chinese are doing. And then you ask yourself, where is it getting its economic theories from? The only thing that came to my mind is what John Maynard Keynes said in his 1936 book, General Employment. He said there are some practical men in office who think they're not influenced by anybody, but they're actually being influenced by some defunct economists, and that they're beholden to some scribbler of a few years ago. So we see that in some of the economic policies that Trump is putting forward, for which many good economists has refused to accept, it may be that with all his good intention, it might be brilliant on old ideas. And that is what maybe this frenzy about tariff, which eventually is going to raise the price of goods in America, and he has promised to lower inflation. But the party is going, at least for now, does not seem to support his campaign promise that is going to lower inflation. Then on the third part, just about 2 days ago or so, he came out when the Prime Minister of Israel was visiting him, Netanyahu. He said that America was going to take over Gaza. And that was shocking to many people. And yesterday, his officials have been trying to walk that back. So they mean Wednesday, they're trying to walk that back. He made that comment on Tuesday or so, and by yesterday, some of his officials are walking the comment back. But he said that America is going to take over, and the people, all the 2 million people living in Gaza, that part of Palestine, are going to be moved to other countries, Egypt and Jordan, and America is going to turn that place into a real estate investment. And now, when his son-in-law said it last year, that was a plan, people thought he was joking. But now the President of America came in and said, for people in their own land, they've been there for thousands of years, you are going to uproot all of them and turn it to a real estate mecca for everybody. And then a reporter asked him, will the people ever come back? Who is going to leave? He said, anybody from the wall is going to come there and lead. Maybe, and he said, maybe the Palestinian can come in. And that he would send American troops to guard the place and to make it happen and put American investment. Now, if that is not disruptive, what else is disruptive in the global arrangement? But this was a president that in his campaign, he said is not going to get America into a new war. It's going to be America for America, right? But what he's saying is going to put American troops on the ground. America is going to be enmeshed in this struggle in Middle East more than it has ever been. But so when you put all this, I mean, just to give you this, for example, immigration, tariffs, and the Gaza, you get the sense that the heads of America are spinning just to make sense of where this president is doing or where he's eventually taking them to.
Very, very interesting analysis, and you open up quite a lot of issues. Now, I want to come to you to give us an insight into how all of these policies, especially the immigration one, is affecting the Nigerian and the African community in the U.S. But first, I wanted to ask this one before we get to that, to say that clearly a big chunk of the American population don't see things the way President Donald Trump sees it. Yes, he won the election convincingly. I think probably at the end of the day, it came to about maybe 2 million or less in the popular vote. But a good number of Americans, significant number of Americans, don't see things the way he sees it. How are they responding locally, Professor Wariboko, from where you sit?
Thank you for that question. Actually, if you look at the election figures, only about 30% of the American population that voted for him, and close to another 30, about the same, a few difference that voted for Kamala. Then the other 10 did not even show up to vote. So, but that is where democracy works, right? If you didn't show up to vote, hard luck.
Yeah.
So he won the election, but not this kind of overwhelming mandate that he talks about. So a lot of Americans don't see the way he sees the world. But his democracy is voted into into power, and he's doing it. So initially, in the first few days, people were just shocked. His policy was like the shock and awe of American invasion of Iraq, kind of that shock and awe. But over time, people are now beginning to organize protests, getting on their phone to call their senators or so. And so gradually, some form of protest is beginning to form. Take, for instance, one of the disruptive things that he did about 2 Mondays ago, he woke up and said he has stopped all payment to federal system. So no one could get any payment. If any form of payment he has stopped, except it's a Medicaid and Medicare. But that was so disruptive that governors and senators begin to call it, because even the Republican states, the red states that voted for him, their governors and their senators and the House of Rep and the political heavyweights, they began to call him, and he has to back down from that. That he can't just wake up and suspend the whole payment system of the Federal Republic, because it's disruptive to the whole economy and to the welfare and well-being of the average American. So he backed down. So people are beginning to resist that, and we can see more of that growing over time. That people will begin to push back on some of these policies, or at worst, people will, at least the midterm election would come in, and if he loses the House and the Senate, then there'll be an effective blockade of his policy in the House and the Senate, or even if it's one house that he loses, is going to slow him down. But I guess what he's doing is trying to do as many things as possible in a short time before the midterm comes in, so he can push through a lot of this, probably change the orientation of America towards him. But right now, in many places, he's causing pain to even the people that voted for him.
Interesting. So it's good that you actually mentioned the midterm elections that's going to be coming in less than 2 years. I understand that even in Iowa, already where a Senate seat became vacant when the Republican holder went to become the lieutenant governor of Iowa, that it was, and where actually Mr. Donald Trump won the election in November, that the Republicans have lost that seat. That seems to be one of the pushback in the American society itself. And of course, the judge that is, handling the case of the citizenship birthright, who said that he couldn't even imagine that a lawyer can put up such a case. My point, just before we now come to Africans and Nigerians, is that it seems that Mr. President Donald Trump is not going to have it easy with some of these his rather outlandish ideas. Do you get that sense that, as much as hard as it tries, that there is going to be a sufficient institutional resistance, from America? Do you get that sense, Prof?
Yeah, I get that sense, but mixed with some ambiguity, right? So my belief and what I know is that the institutions, the democratic institutions of America is going to resist him. Like waking up and says he's suspending the birthright citizenship. That is a constitutional stuff. You can't just use an executive order to suspend it. It has to go to voting in the different states, and it has to be approved properly. It's a constitution, but how will he wake up and say he's suspending a part of the constitution? So yes, so the judges, the judiciary will resist him. People are taking some of these matters to court. Of course, so they're going to use the judicial system, the court system, and then eventually the political system to resist him.
So what is the reaction in the African community, especially the Nigerian community? I lived in the place for 17 years. Are the prayer points changing in the churches and in the mosques? What is happening in the community, with all these immigration issues, citizenship birthright that has implication for our people? Prof?
Yes, so I would say I've observed or heard and seen two types of settlements. One is about what is happening in the U.S. and the response to it, and what Nigerians here feel about Nigerians in Nigeria, which is very interesting. Here, of course, there are a good number of Nigerians that don't have papers, right? So they are worried. And so if you are a pastor, if you are a leader in that community, you are really worried for those people. You have concern for them. What is going to happen? Are they going to be deported? Some of them are hiding. Also, so there is that palpable fear, right, that they could be raided. Also, if you have a quarrel with your neighbor, they can call the ICE office, that's Immigration Enforcement Unit, to come and take you out. So there is that palpable fear, more than what one has ever seen among certain group of Nigerians, right? So my heart goes out to them. But at the same time, so they are fearful, they are angry, they don't know what is going to happen. But at the same time, they are also angry with their Nigerian citizens, with their brothers and sisters in Nigeria, on at least for two or three reasons. Number one, they feel like while they are feeling the pain of Trumpism, while they're feeling the pain of renewed racism and oppression, while they're feeling the pain of uncertainty, what is going to happen, Nigerians, they are celebrating Trump. That
wow.
is God sent. When even in his swearing in, he wouldn't put his hand on the Bible. They insist is God sent. They insist is forcing the immigration laws because somebody needs to
do it,
implement a law and order. So they celebrate him. Oh, they said they need a strong autocratic leader like Trump to rule Nigeria. So they say, and the Nigerians are saying, don't you have compassion for your fellow brothers and sisters here? And you are going on some kind of ideological trip and forget the real pain of Nigerians here, what psychological and physical pain. And so that is, they said, why can't you see the policy for what it is? That at the end of the day, if this great replacement theory holds, then your brothers and sisters are going to be sent back home. Do you have jobs to absorb them? What are you going to do? Because even those with legal papers and have acquired U.S. citizens could still be in jeopardy, right? So if he wants to change birthright law, that if you're born here, you're an American, if he changes that, how far will that go? Will he also change the fact that if you have a green card, you can no more, they are not going to allow you to be a citizen, so you cannot vote, and therefore you hang on the balance, or you something precarious, or he revokes your green card, or revokes even your citizenship, right? So they feel that Nigerians in their social media and their commentary are just not aware of what Africans, Nigerians and Africans are going through. And they said, even if you don't like us, people in the US send billions of dollars home every year, literally, to sustain the Nigerian economy, to sustain their families. So even for the sake of economic interests, people, Nigerians should care about that, because there's money that is coming from here to sustain different families. If for many families, if they have people abroad in Europe, Asia, or in the United States or Canada, their economic life well-being will be below what they have in the country. Right. So if people know that politics is about defending your economic interests, then they will be defending their fellow citizens, because it's in the national interest of Nigeria that these people in diaspora stay, because we are sending more money to Nigeria than they get from exports of many things. And so why would even the government not say? I talked to a top government official in one of the states, and it was in support of Trump. I said, look, you can support him on your Christian feelings, or so I don't have a problem. But as a government official, you are supposed to look after the economic interests of Nigerians and Nigerians abroad. So if anywhere in the world somebody's coming with a policy that ultimately is going to affect the Nigerian economy, then you should frontline that, stage that as something to be defended.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Nimi Wariboko Mweda, Professor of Social Ethics and Director of African Studies Center in the University of Boston. Thank you for coming to Inside Sources, and thank you for your insights.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Hopefully, these 4 years with Trump is going to be a very exciting one, and we'll keep you updated. Inside Sources will be right back. Come back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of our country, I have a guest who is a retired Major General, who was also a former Provost Marshal of the Army. He's not just a general, he's also an author. He also has a PhD in criminal justice and global leadership. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources retired Major General Pat Akem Vingi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
It's my honor, a pleasure.
And thank you for your service to the country. And clearly we all agree in this country that one of the institutions that we look up to is the military. And we're very glad that, since 1999, the military has left politics alone. But it's a conversation on the future of Nigeria. So based on your own experience, Mr. Major General, where do you think Nigeria is going? If you look at where we are today, how do you think we are heading towards that great future? Because we all believe that Nigeria ought to be a great country, far greater than this. How do you see things?
Okay, so let me start by thanking Nigeria once again for the privileges I have received from the nation. You see, nations do what we call subtle socialization. In fact, I'm the one that has framed it as subtle socialization.
Wow.
It's a concept that derives from socialization of a people to love a nation. And it's normally done deliberately, but some nations do it in a very subtle manner that you won't even know you are being socialized. So I'm one of those socialized Nigerians that Nigeria accidentally socialized into loving the nation.
Wow.
You see, because I lost my father in primary school, and if it were Nigeria of today, everything, my all would have been lost. But Nigeria paid my primary school, paid for me in college. Of course, I went to Nigerian Defense Academy, so I was trained and being paid while getting the training.
Wow.
So when I became an officer, Nigeria sent me to University of Lagos to read law. Nigeria sent me to law school. Nigeria sent me to University of Kent in UK. It was when I was doing a PhD that Nigeria did not participate because at that time I was a Major General, and it was felt that I wasn't going to come back to serve again for a long duration. So we have a country that is a very potentially one of the greatest countries on earth.
Wow.
Is it by way of resources? Is it the prodigious talent that we have all over the place? By way of human capital,
right?
That we can even export to the whole world, and we are exporting, but not deliberately. So Nigeria is potentially a very great country if we can only get it right. Of course, there are a number of things that we should do deliberately to get it right. First, leadership must craft an ennobling vision that is tantalizing and enticing enough to galvanize Nigerians heading towards it. You don't pluck up these visions. They come from your values and your kind of mindset and training and what you think you want to bequeath upon the nation. So to craft those kind of visions, you must get Nigerians to buy in. When they buy in, it means they are the ones crafting the vision. So the buy-in is easy. You can actually carry them there because they are a part of the process. It's not something about coming and saying, I have a vision to address infrastructure. That is just a very tiny strand of what a nation should be doing. For instance, we have not built a nation. When you have over 250 ethnic groups, you need to deliberately build them into a cohesive whole, where everyone takes ownership of the nation instead of taking ownership of their ethnic groups. You must be fair and equitable enough for somebody to say, I belong to Nigeria, not that I'm a chief man. Not that I'm a Hausa man, not that I'm a Fulani man, not that I'm a Yoruba man. I'm a Nigerian. So, and it will take a lot of social engineering and a lot of work to get Nigerians to move from the cleavages of ethnic groupings to the Nigeria that we want to be. So without that, without even doing this, look at the kind of impact Nigerians are making around the world.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine if we're able to get it right and build, because is it resources we have? Is it mineral resources? Is it natural resources? Is it human capital? Which is an element of national power if you know how to develop it.
Yeah.
But we've not done that, and we need to deliberately do it. So when I look at Nigeria, I'm wondering that those who are in leadership positions now, they benefited from the same thing I've benefited from. How come they are not as grateful to Nigeria the way some of us are? Because if you are grateful to a nation, you want to give back.
Yeah.
So I give back to Nigeria. I'm proud of Nigeria. I project Nigeria. I talk well about Nigeria to foreigners so that when I'm either in US or anywhere in the world and you ask me about Nigeria, I'm not buying into that narrative of corruption. I'm not talking corruption. I'm talking greatness. Because Nigeria is great. If we speak greatness over Nigeria, Nigeria will become greater. So let's say something to the young population that they can look forward to. Because when I interact with young people now, they see a hopeless situation around them. They see Nigeria as a hopeless case. But this country cannot be a hopeless case.
But Gerald, you can't blame the young people, though.
Yeah.
Because we do have very tremendous, challenges. And I like your opening statement to say that, Nigeria socialized you. Based on your own trajectory, you feel like in Nigeria.
Yes.
So I mean, it's very credible.
Which is what the young people are not feeling because they're not benefited from
because
it.
they don't find that kind of,
Yeah.
Now I want us to talk about a few things, but I wanted to, let's just dig deeper into that. How do you think we can turn that situation around? Because I agree with you entirely, completely, totally, that in terms of resources, in terms of natural resources, in terms of human capital development, that can boast of what Nigeria has. There is absolutely no reason, no tenable reason that I have found, why we should be where we are. So the question is, that I'd like to hear your take is that, what do we need to do that we have not been doing?
Okay. See, like John Maxwell will say, everything rises and falls on leadership. So it's leadership. First, leadership must show Nigerians and Nigeria that it loves Nigeria. You see, you cannot steal from the one you love.
Yeah.
If you take ownership and you say Nigeria is mine,
you'll be giving.
You'll be giving. So we must first show that we love Nigeria. We must also recognize that we do not have any other country. See, nations are now doing inclusiveness. I mean, moving from welcoming everybody into saying this is our land. So even Nigerians who are escaping abroad, they may find that they will become unacceptable and will be compelled to come back. So there is nothing better than home. So Nigeria is ours. So leaders must first know that this is our country, that we have no other place, begin to love the nation, begin to tell themselves that we have no other place. No matter how much money you have, you can't get a very hot amala the way you get it in Ibadan.
Or pounded yam
on the streets of New York.
Yes.
So you need to think the future of Nigeria. You need to look forward. You need to tell yourself that whatever we need outside can be gotten right here. So that is one. The second thing you need to do is to build a nation deliberately. Let's begin to coalesce about common values, common goals, common identities. This may be a digression, but let me just state it because I don't want it I don't want to forget it. The only time in recent times that Nigerians feel really, really happy is if their national football teams are winning.
Yeah.
So a government that is agile, mentally agile, a government that is creative and innovative. We say, well, this is something we can build upon.
Yes.
So you can create football academies in every state and be churning out talents at such a level that it will be difficult. You have an embarrassment of riches to select a first 11 team.
Wow.
In other words, Nigeria can play multiple football matches at the same time. And then you will be exporting the talents. And the talents will be bringing in money. Okay, look at the guy in, I think he's Boniface. I just signed it. He's moving to Saudi Arabia. And the money they are going to pay him, the guy will be earning literally about ₦1 billion per month.
Yes.
So that, in the end, that part of that comes home. But forget about the money. It's the joy that Nigerians derive. That is the thing, that is the rallying point. When Nigerians are playing a football match and winning a tournament, nobody remembers their ethnic groups. You only need to get online to see the comments that bring tears to my eyes. And I say, if government knows that Nigerians love this thing, why not turn it into an industry? It is so simple. It doesn't take rocket science to develop football academies, get coaches, develop them at various grades. You'll be churning out talents, and we have the human capital. You'll be churning out talents at a level that will be unimaginable. So that is one. Then look at your economy. Diversify. Move from oil. People are no longer talking oil because you can get it from various sources.
Right.
So look, agriculture is huge. Huge.
It was the basis of
with all the value chain and the land we have, which is fertile. In Nigeria, you can drop something and it grows on its own. Then you develop huge farms, encourage the private sector to get heavily into it, give them subsidies, give them tax exemptions, permit them to import equipment free, duty free, that as long as they are for agriculture purposes, you will feed the nation, you will feed the world. Nigeria can feed the world. then make sure your institutions are strong enough to withstand stresses from bad governance, because you may not have a continuum or continuously good governance, but the institutions will be. So you see, because right now what we have is leadership is like a lottery. When we are fortunate, we get a good one. Exactly. When we are not fortunate, we get a bad one.
Okay, General. Let's come in there just so we can make the conversation very dynamic.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the fact that if we build institutions, even when we don't have good leaders emerge from our political process, the system will prevail.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
very true.
I would say, for instance, that America is going to survive Donald Trump, you know.
Yeah, because of institutions.
Just because of the and that doesn't mean that Donald Trump has no value at all, but it's very controversial, and, you know, he doesn't deny that himself. But we are in a position today, in my own view, because, and I think a lot of people have considered today, you said it, we've not had a sustained leadership, the kind of leadership that can harness the resources and that can inspire the Nigerian people. So I have come up with reflecting on the thing, having served inside and then as working as a journalist, to say that, look, we are not going to be able to produce the kind of leadership, because at the end of the day, people will be the one to build institutions, and the leader has a huge, responsibility. I can tell you, General, that whoever is number one in Nigeria has a tremendous influence in what happens. So my question is that, or my view, and you will comment, is that we need a reform of the political process. And for that reform to take place, we need voices outside of the political process. Because those who are in the political process, they don't see a problem. You know why? Because they are beneficiaries. So we need voices outside of the political process to speak up to reform the political process. I'm saying that basically that the problems that we are dealing with at the level of leadership is itself a reflection of where our moral values have descended to. What's your comment, General?
Yeah, you are right. We can't give up.
Absolutely.
We can't give up.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so the voices from outside, and they are largely being ignored for now, because the young people have been speaking. They have been ignored. We are praying that it will not get to the level where things will begin to happen in a manner that we were not expecting. Because if we push people to the wall, if they are not breaking the wall to exit, then they will start fighting back. But I want to come back to say that it is not as challenging and as difficult as we are thinking if a few mindsets will be changed. For instance, if somebody is 60-something years old, 70 years old, and they've made a lot of money, what more money can you make? What more money do you want to accumulate? So we need to appeal to their better angels inside them to say that, and leadership is not that challenging, even though it looks like that. For instance, if President Tinubu calls his ministers and tells each of them, these are the things I want you to do, and he tells Nigerians, these are the assignments I've given these people, these are the assignments for the Minister of Education, these are the goals I want to attain. And he says, Nigerians, you will serve as the feedback loop. You will be telling me whether it is being done. But I understand the last time the president met with, did a press listing, that even the journalists there couldn't point out anything that was wrong. So I mean, but basically you need to have Nigerians give you feedback, and that is because you want to serve Nigerians. So if President Tinubu, for instance, does that and says, I ask Minister Ben Umahi to build roads, is he building them Nigerians? Which other roads do you think can be built? Is there a road in your village somewhere, heading somewhere that you want repaired? Nigerians will tell the president. The president will tell Minister Umahi that, please do this, do this, do this. And then Nigerians will monitor. The same thing with every sector. So you do that. It's not challenging. You just ask for feedback, and they keep giving you feedback, and they keep giving you feedback, and they keep giving you feedback, and then based on that feedback, you are measuring to see whether you are attaining your goals. That is for somebody that wants to live. So they have nothing to lose. All you can do now is to leave a legacy, because you are comfortable. You are children are well trained. What else? So sometimes we need to go back to the Bible. The Bible says it's better to go to the place of mourning than to the place of merriment. So once in a while, leaders should, when they go to those burials that they attend the ceremonies, they should follow the coffin to the grave and see the end of the coffin.
To be reminded
of
our mortality.
That we are mortal and that everybody ends up like that. So what kind of name do you want to leave? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? But apart from that, you must aspire. What do you want to run for government? You must come up and say, I want to leave something behind. So if you do that, then you go there, you'll be calculating that, what have I done? I've been on this job for 6 months. What have I delivered? You should be measuring yourself and asking yourself, have I delivered? So it goes like that down the line. The minister talks to the PAMSEC. If he has 2 of them, he talks to them. The PAMSEC talks to the directors. It goes down like that we are to deliver, and this is how we are going to deliver. So you just deliver. See, governance is not too difficult. It's not too difficult.
It's a big problem in our country.
It's not too difficult. Perhaps a lot of reasons account for it. If you go to U.S. Congress now, you will see young men who are doing internship, who are sitting in rooms where things are being discussed. They are hearing. They are building them up.
Taking notes.
Do we have those kind of interns here in Nigeria, in institutions, in organs of governance, where they can learn? Even the youth service corps that was supposed to be a rallying cry and a unifying factor is no longer serving that purpose from the feedback I get from corpers. So it needs re-engineering. And it's not just that, a whole set of areas need re-engineering. So basically, this is a deliberate work. We must have the presence of mind to do it. We must be engaging. We must pursue it. We must set goals and targets and ensure we meet them. So if President Tinubu comes back and says, 6 months have gone by since I gave you 1 briefs, and they will be done openly on national TV, Nigerians watching, every minister presenting their scorecards, not in secret. If somebody lies, Nigerians will say no, and you'll be getting the feedback instantaneously. Look, President Tinubu, you can listen to somebody who is retired. If I may be permitted in all humility to advise, you are experienced. You came to deliver on a set of goals and objectives. I would advise you focus on them like a laser beam. Give Nigerians something to rejoice about. Give Nigerians something to smile. Nigerians are not too difficult to please. I have seen it. They appreciate small efforts because they see the efforts and they see the intentions behind the efforts. Tax your ministers, insist that they deliver, call them to give accounts openly in a big hall with Nigerians watching on live TV.
Wow. With
pictures and images. Pictures may not lie in this present world, because if somebody says there is a bridge constructed somewhere, young people will go find out whether the bridge is actually there.
Exactly.
So you can do it, sir.
You get time.
You can do it, and you are placed in a position to do it.
Absolutely.
Nigeria is a great country. You are sitting on top of a great nation, and you can deliver.
Excellent. I want you to talk about the security situation in the country. You have served, looking at your profile, you've served in quite a lot of the theaters of war. We are dealing with insurgency. Now we are dealing with banditry. And, the military has become involved, quite a bit in internal security. What do you think we can do that we have not done so far? Especially in the area of dealing with these bandits, dealing with the terrorists. There's now even a new one, Lakurawa figured out in Sokoto State, I believe. So, General, what's your own take? What else can we do to crush this insurgency and banditry? It's been a problem for too long now.
Well, there is no silver bullet that you say if you fire this bullet, it's done. But let me deal with the Lakurawa quickly.
Okay.
We shouldn't recognize them. We shouldn't even discuss them.
They should just go and destroy them.
Yeah, because they think we are being noticed now, and they will do more. They're actually one small, tiny group that shouldn't even engage our attention. That should be swatted away and not giving any energy to feed upon.
Because this was how Boko Haram started too.
Yeah, we shouldn't give it any decision to feed upon because now they are seeking attention. But back to the real issue. The issue is multifaceted and it requires diverse approaches, all of which in some can work. We have tried almost everything, and you can't be doing the same thing and expecting different outcomes. So first, you must address the fundamentals. There's a lot of poverty in the land.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ignorance. There are a lot of children who are supposed to be in school that are out of school that will serve as a pool from which these people recruit. So you need to address poverty. You need to we have a youth budge. Yeah. You must get it actively engaged. So you must get that youth budge engaged actively. You must address the endemic poverty
in the land.
So those are economic policies that you need to in place. Then the military, again, must be given what they require, whatever it is. The equipment, the training, and the full authority. Let me tell you something. When President Buhari was president, and that was at the height of the insurgency and the killings, the clashes.
Right.
And somebody asked me, what does the president need to do? I told the president that the president needed to give the instructions to the security agencies in open where Nigerians will be hearing it. That these are the instructions. Because when the president talks quietly like that and leaves, they're wondering, does he want us to do it? Does he not?
This is very interesting because this was exactly what another retired officer said just 2 weeks ago.
Oh, and I didn't even listen to it.
I said that, look, if the president were to tell the military generals and say that, look, go and crush this thing without any equivocation. This is exactly what he said. Please go ahead.
So when you do that openly and you tell them, I want to see your knees on my table in about 2 weeks so that it will be a thorough job. Everything you need. Yeah, because if you don't have security, you can't be talking about development.
You can't talk about anything.
So they bring the needs. The ones that you can supply immediately, you authorize them to start. Okay, look at Nigeria. Look at the population. Look at the landmass. Our army is small.
Yeah.
We need, some years ago, I was brigade commander and 4 Brigade, and I came to a conference in Army headquarters, and I said we needed to have an army of 500,000 at that time. Some people scoffed at it.
Wow.
So people's views and opinions are based on their backgrounds and knowledge. I went to National Defense University, Pakistan, to do the National Defense course. So I saw what the Pakistanis were doing, and I knew we needed an army of 500,000. Because when you are fighting insurgencies, you must capture ground and must hold it. It takes troops to do that. If you
capture ground and hold
it, then you build and hold, so that people can return back to normal lifestyles and there will be security. But if you are clearing areas and not holding, then they are having spaces within which to operate. They will come back. So you will discover that you are just constantly clearing the same areas. So when you say we are going for clearance operations, to what effect? The guys see you coming, they engage you small, they withdraw. Then they wait
for you to go.
You go, they come back, they continue. So it's a cycle. So you need enough troops to be able to do that. If you're not able to do that, then you must be able to have the police and other security agencies holding the ground while you move forward with continued operations. Because the design is to deny the insurgency space within which to operate. So basically fighting a war is capturing enemy territory and holding it. until it gets to a place where it is untenable for them and they surrender.
Wow.
So if you deny them space within which to operate, and then, of course, if you don't have the enough manpower, then you will leverage technologies. The Americans do it. They can sit here and bomb something very far away. So you leverage technologies. So the technologies will become force multipliers of some sort. So you are not able to to hold this ground, but you are able to dominate it with technology.
Even from a distance.
And I can tell you that, can I tell you this, and I'm not saying it out of pride, the armed forces of Nigeria are the most trained organization on the Nigerian soil.
No, I agree.
It's a place where even as a Major General, they are still sending you on seminars.
Yeah.
You are still doing trainings.
You guys come with very
So all these guys you are seeing wearing rank, some of them are just sharp up there. Very, very sharp. What the other nations try to poach our guys when they go on courses? It's because we are sharp, we are good. So Nigeria must start celebrating its armed forces, and then, of course, we are not saying they are perfect, but professionalism must continue. So the president, it takes marching orders from the president for that to happen.
Okay, I wanted to quickly follow up on something that you said about the quality of the Nigerian military officers. You know, no doubt about that. You know, we've encountered so much of them. And my question is, Nigeria spent a lot of money to train, these people like you to become generals and highly skilled, well-informed. But at the rate at which they are being retired, I think it's a total loss to the system. That's my take. What do you think? Because we have many major generals, and then they pick a new one from maybe 2 ranks below, and everybody goes and you guys, everybody go and do their own thing. Of course, they will do well personally, but I think it's a cumulative loss to the system. Am I right or wrong?
So you are right. General McMilley, the last Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staffs, U.S. Armed Forces, served for 47 years.
Look at that. Yeah,
4 stars. Brown, QC Brown, who is there, maybe he's 30-something years now. And their own system is different. When they retire, companies are waiting for them.
Of course.
In Nigeria, we don't have that kind of structure where companies are looking for you.
Yeah, but
they are looking for you. So I'm agreeing with you that we are training people.
Yeah.
Investing so much. When I was trying to update my listing to send to you,
yes,
I just looked at the way Nigeria has invested in me, and I must be frank. I've benefited from this nation.
Yeah, you made it.
So I'm always trying to give back because Nigeria has invested in us. So yeah, you are right. But the structure, the way it is now, that will keep happening.
So let me ask you. So how is it possible for the Americans to do it differently? What are they doing differently?
Okay, so look at it this way. When Biden came,
yes,
he continued with General Milley.
Okay.
And all the generals retire at their normal. They are not changing them just because a new president has come.
Okay.
They don't do that.
Okay.
They are supposed to be at that level. You are supposed to be. They know you are loyal.
Yeah.
They know you are loyal to the nation. They know you will deliver. They know you have become an institution and you have knowledge.
So the president
I spent 9 hours in the Pentagon. In 2015, I was guest of the Provost Marshal, United States Army, General Quantock. So I spent 9 hours being briefed in the Pentagon, in the Chief of Army Staff's wing.
Okay.
Being briefed. And what I saw is a system, and interacting with them, because I've done courses where I had American officers.
Right.
It's a system that if you are good, the system values you, they use you.
Okay, our last question. I wanted you to talk about the
military. Oh, I thought it was the military industrial complex.
Yes, this is something that has been on, and recently the president did say that he's going to ensure that happens. I remember in the past administration under which I served, that the vice president also came up with the idea after the president asked him to do.
Okay, so first, the way it is framed is a misconception. That term does not even imply what Nigeria Nigerians think of it. I was in a National Defense College teaching there, and I used to see participants with topics like military-industrial complex and Nigeria's development, and I just laugh. You see, because that term wasn't used in that manner. The first time it came into human lexicon was General Dwight Eisenhower, when he was in 1961, right, when he was leaving and he was giving his farewell speech. He said he was warning against the development of a military-industrial complex, which is an ironclad, iron-tight arrangement between relationship between Congress and the contractors, and the military contractors, and the Ministry of Defense, and then lobbyists. So what does it imply? That contractors give campaign donations. So they come up with equipment that must be bought by the military. Yeah. Congress appropriates money for this equipment. So everybody is just rich. And then if you are doing that, then you must look for a war to fight. So he was warning against that system. So it is not a hub where defense-related hardware is developed. But you can have a complex, you can have a set of industries that are dedicated to developing military technology in concert with the military, where R&D is going on at a level that taps into the challenges that are expected to crop up and the kind of equipment you'll be using to tackle those challenges. Right. So do we need that? Yes. We have DICON, Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria. They are operating, but they've not reached, they're in Kaduna, they've not reached the level where they will reach. Yeah. But it's the private sector that drives that in relation to, in concert with military forces. So we have Proforce. Yeah. Proforce is doing a phenomenal job of developing tanks, APCs, a couple of other equipment that they're even selling to other nations. Yeah. Even UN is getting from Proforce. So when you see something like that, government needs to step in and encourage it. So I was in Pakistan 2009. We went on a tour. I was doing a course, the National Defense Corps. We went on a tour, and we went to where the Pakistani armed forces were building a submarine. We went to a place where they were building aircraft. Okay. Yeah. So in other words, the armed forces can develop to such a level where they are building their own equipment with assistance from civil industries, industries that are capable of tapping into and developing those equipment. So we need to do that. But you wanted to ask something about the youth. So the government must deliberately say, okay, we may get to a level where we may want an equipment from a nation, and the nation may not sell it to us. So we can predict and say, let's build our own. And Nigeria is positioned to do it.
Excellent. Thank you for coming to Inside Sources. And thank you for your service to Nigeria.
It was a privilege serving Nigeria.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your leadership, even after you have left office. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, sir.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. We mean that Nigeria will win, because we will be here. We will be relentless in pushing the issues. Thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde. I'll see you at the next edition.